friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to a pretty fun video. I am actually very excited to film this one right now. This is a video all about WSBG, or the World Series of Board Gaming. This video is sponsored by WSBG, so a huge thank you to them. But today I'm going to be ranking all 16 of the games that are part of the World Series of Board Gaming, which if you guys do not know what WSBG is, it is an event that started last year. They had the first event last year in September, and then they're having the second event this year from September 24th to September 28th. And basically what it is a 5-day event where people can come together in the board gaming community and compete in 16 different games. Also, my dogs are coming down to join us. They're also very excited for WSBG. Y'all came down for the info? I know you did. You guys gonna go compete? Penny, what is your game that you're gonna compete in? Cascadia? Yeah, you seem like the type. Walter? You're more of a brass Birmingham dude? All right, sounds good. Does anyone else talk to their dogs as much as I do? Probably not. But anyways, yes, WSBG is a way for you to compete in a bunch of different board games. There are 16 different board games. Like I said, I'm going to be ranking them today. But basically what happens is there are going to be 16 different ring events over 4 days, and then once you have one ring winner for each of the games, each of the winners of the 16 different ring games do get a one-of-a-kind ring for that specific game, and then all 16 of those players do go into the semifinals. So there will basically be 4 games of different games that all of those players have played in, so they would not play the same game that they got the ring for. They would do a different game, so there'd be 4 different semifinals, and then once those 4 winners have been made or determined, those 4 players will go into the finals for the final game. I don't know what the final game is going to be this year, but it's very exciting. And then basically for the finals, whoever wins first place gets $25,000. Whoever gets second place gets $10,000. I believe whoever gets third place gets $5,000. And then whoever gets fourth place gets $1,000. And it just sounds like a fantastic event. From what I heard from last year, it was amazing. They had a great first year and everyone is super excited for the second year. So if you guys are also interested in being part of WSBG in Las Vegas, Nevada, then definitely go check it out. I will have the links down below. I also do have a code down below for you guys to get a little bit of money off if you want to participate. So definitely go and check it out. There is still time to sign up and be part of WSBG this year. Anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping for this intro. I'm sure this intro is probably very long, but I'm actually very excited about this. So if you guys want to, again, see the rankings or my rankings of the 16 different ring games in the WSBG or the World Series of Board Gaming, just keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. Hit that subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. And comment down below. This is my question of the video. Comment down below if there were one game or if there was one game that you would like to see as like a tournament. Put it down below. I would love to know what your one game you would want to compete in, or one game that you would like to see in the World Series of Board Gaming if it's not already here in the top 16. Yeah, let me know. You can wait till the end, but I think that'd be fun. I think for me, I would love to see Concordia. Concordia would be a good one. I think that would be very fun. And I love Concordia so much. And also Hadrian's Wall, obviously, but I think I would prefer Concordia as a tournament. But anyways, yes, let's get into this ranking video, shall we? All right, so I'm not going to lie, I have not played all 16 of the games that are featured as a ring event at WSBG. So I do have 4 different ones. I have my ranking over here, but I have 4 different ones that I actually haven't played out of the 16, which I think is pretty good. So these 4 are going to be obviously at the bottom of the list, and I am ranking these in what I would like to play most to least, in order of what I would prefer to try first. So number 16 is the one that I would want to try the least, and I have the least interest in, and that is Acquire. I have no idea what Acquire is. Maybe if I actually looked into how the game plays and stuff, maybe this would be up further, but to be honest with you, just the look of the game and what I like kind of know about it, I just don't have any interest in it, honestly. So that's why it is number 16. I apologize if Acquire is one that you really enjoy. I'm sure it's a fantastic game. It's obviously why it is included in the World Series of Board Gaming, but Acquire is my number 16. Number 15 is another game that I have not played, but I've heard good things about. It is a space-themed game, which doesn't really suck me in. I will say that I believe this one is like a similar gameplay to Terra Mystica, and I think I would prefer to play Terra Mystica over Gaia Project. Gaia Project is my number 15. I've heard that it's similar gameplay to Terra Mystica. If I'm wrong, apologies, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that. And I do prefer the theming of Terra Mystica over Gaia Project. So Gaia Project is my number 15. I just don't love space-themed games, but I have heard good things about the gameplay, so it would be one that I'd be willing to try. But yes, Gaia Project, number 15. Number 14 is again another space-themed game, one that I've tried a different variation of, but my number 14 is Terraforming Mars. This game was, or still is, pretty high on the BGG Top 100, so I'm sure it's a fantastic game. I have played Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, and I really, really, really enjoy Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, so that's why this one is higher up. I actually think I could switch the next one with Terraforming Mars, just based off of how much I enjoy Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, but I think if I was to have both of them beside me, either the full board game version of Terraforming Mars or the quicker simultaneous card gameplay of Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, I think I would choose Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So that is why Terraforming Mars is my number 14. Again, sounds like a fantastic game. A lot of people enjoy it. So I would be open to trying it. And I do think eventually I should try Terraforming Mars because it is such an important game in the board gaming hobby. So yes, that is my number 14. That is Terraforming Mars. I almost said Ares Expedition, but just Terraforming Mars. And lastly, for the games that I have yet to play, I'm actually surprised I haven't played this one yet. And this one's an interesting one to actually have in WSBG. This is a very small tile laying game, and it's just so cute compared to all the rest of them. I guess Cascadia is pretty cute. Wingspan is also in there, so there's a few lighter, cuter games per se, but it's just so funny to see this one in WSBG and people doing tournaments of it. But my number 13 is Patchwork. Again, I don't know why I haven't tried Patchwork yet. I think it looks like a fantastic game. It is polyomino, and this is one that I would probably most like to try out of the four that I haven't, so that is why it is my number 13. Patchwork, there's a bunch of different variations of it. There's an American one, a Halloween one, a Christmas one, a Valentine's Day one, and then there's the base Patchwork one. So it's one that I would definitely consider purchasing and trying because I know I really enjoy polyomino games and tile laying games, so I'm sure that I would enjoy it. And there's some interesting decisions with the going around the circle of drafting the tiles in Patchwork and using your buttons and stuff, I've heard is a very fun and strategic kind of thing to have in a tile laying game. So that is my number 12, not number 12, number 13, Patchwork. All right, so moving into the ones that I've actually played and actually have here in front of me. My number 12 is the one that I enjoy the least out of all of them that I have played, and this is still a fantastic game and I really love it, but my number 12 is Splendor. This is one that we've had in our collection for a very, very, very long time, and it's just a game that I've played so many times. It is fun. It is a good intro to engine building. I really enjoy that. But it's just one that I've played way too many times. And I guess if I was going into it as a tournament thing, then maybe I would want to play it more and try to get better at it. I will say I'm not the best at this game ever, so I think it would be one that I would consider going in and actually practicing and stuff to get better at for a tournament. But it's just one that, like I said, I've played a ton and it's okay, but I definitely like the rest of the games in WSBG SBG more than Splendor. So that is my number 12. All right, so moving into my number 11. This is one, I will admit this, the reason why this one is so low is because we have not played this in probably a year and a half, 2 years. We actually have the older version of it, but that is Great Western Trail. This is one, like I said, we haven't played in a very long time, and we are kind of holding off playing it again because if we do decide to play this one again, we're going to have to completely relearn it because I do not remember how Great Western Trail plays. I do remember enjoying it. That's the thing. That is why it is above Splendor, because I do remember enjoying this one very, very much. It is obviously a lot heavier than Splendor, and I really enjoyed the gameplay of it from what I remember, going around and collecting like the different cows and the different workers and stuff for different things, and then getting to the end and then selling your cows or like shipping off your cows and different things like that. I remember it vaguely, and I do remember enjoying it. So that is why I chose this as my number 11. Obviously the other ones I remember better and enjoyed more. So that is why Great Western Trail is my number 11. Moving into number 10, this is again one that we have tried to play as like frequently as possible because this is another one that whenever we go to play it, we kind of have to relearn the rules, which like I am very impressed. Anyone that is competing in this game as well as Great Western Trail, like the rules are pretty heavy. I think those are probably, along with most likely Gaia Project is probably a heavier game, as well as maybe Terraforming Mars. The rest are like pretty, I guess Arc Nova is kind of heavy-ish. But I think I've played Arc Nova enough that like I know the rules off by heart. But anyways, my number 10 is Brass Birmingham. So this is one, like I said, that we always have to relearn the rules, and it's a little bit heavier, and I don't love the like look of this game. I don't love the theme of this game, but the gameplay of Brass Birmingham is so much fun. I really enjoy it. It's really unlike any of the games here, and like I said, it has a lot more depth to it, so whoever is competing in Brass Birmingham, like, good for you. Whoever wins Brass Birmingham, good for you, because I am awful at this game, and most of the time Francis beats me. Francis beats me most of the time anyways in any game, but yes, Brass Birmingham, really enjoy it, but it's a little bit heavier and a little bit harder to get to the table as the others that we have on this list. So that is why Brass Birmingham is my number 10. Moving into my number 9, this one makes me sad because I don't actually have this one physically anymore. We sold our copy, but that is Ticket to Ride. So I ended up selling our copy of Ticket to Ride. We never played it. We never got it to the table. I really enjoy Ticket to Ride, but I figured what I could do is anytime that I wanted to play Ticket to Ride, I could just play it on BGA, or I'm pretty sure there is an app that you can get for Ticket to Ride. So I was like, okay, if we're not gonna get it to the table, Francis absolutely despises Ticket to Ride, but like I said, I really enjoy it. So I'm just like, okay, we'll sell it, and then I can just play it on those other platforms when I want to. So yes, Ticket to Ride is my number 9. I really enjoy Ticket to Ride. It's another one that like we've had in our collection for a really long time, no longer, but it was one that I enjoyed whenever we got to the table, and I actually like, since watching it at WSBG last year and seeing how strategic people were with that game, it's actually made me want to play Ticket to Ride more. It recently came on to BGA as well, so that's made me want to play it more. I've been playing it a ton on BGA, and it's just a game that like, at first glance, it's like, wow, that's like such an easy game, but there's so much depth and like strategy in Ticket to Ride, and just like getting in people's way, and oh, so freaking good. So that is Ticket to Ride, my number 9. Moving on to number 8, this is actually probably the one that I've had the least amount of time. So this is newest to me in this list, and I really have been enjoying this one. This one I'm gonna just show you now before I start talking about it more, but this is Raw. This is one that I did not know about. It is an older game, but 25th Century Games just recently came out with like a new edition of it. It is absolutely gorgeous. This was sent to me by 25th Century Games, so thank you to them. But yes, Raw is a game, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like, I've said this before when I chatted about it, but it reminds me a little bit of like Sushi Go, where you are trying to get different sets of different things, and different sets are going to be getting you points in different ways. But in this one, you are collecting different tiles and placing them in front of you on like either side of your board instead of having like the cards. And you are actually doing a little bit of auctioning. So on your turn, you can do one of two things. One, you can take a tile out of the bag and then place it in the like auction area, adding it to the tiles that you're going to be auctioning for. Or you can start an auction. So you can take the little, or actually it's pretty big, meatball thing, and you can say, I declare raw, I think it is. And basically you're meaning we're going to start a auction for the tiles that are out currently. And then you have these 3 discs that you start with different numbers, and then you are going to be bidding with those numbers in order to get those tiles, as well as another number that you're going to use for the next round. And whatever tile you use for, like with whatever number you use, is going to be put for the next auction. So the tile or the number that you're using is going to actually go to someone else on the next auction. So you're kind of like moving around the numbers that you have available for your auctioning. Very, very good game. I've really enjoyed this one. It plays up to 5 players. I really wish it played up to 6 players because I feel like this one would be a fun one to play with family and friends. We usually have like a group of 6, so I wish it would play up to 6, but 5 is fine, and I really, really, really enjoy Raw. So that is why it is my number 8. Moving on to another game that I have played quite a bit, but I actually haven't played this copy because I just recently got this copy. This was sent over by Asmodee Canada, and that is Azul. So this version of Azul is the Master Chocolatier version, but the one being used for WSBG is just like the base original Azul. It's not the Master Chocolatier one, at least I don't think, but it's pretty much the same. It's just a different theming. But Azul is one that I've played a ton. I've played a few times physically, but never with my own copy. I've also played a ton of Azul on BGA. Oh my goodness, I've probably played like 100 games of Azul at this point. It is just such a fun game and such a straightforward, but again, very much like Ticket to Ride, there's so much strategy and ways of like backstabbing people and doing a lot of like hate drafting and like really looking at the players that you're playing with and almost doing more of like screwing them over than working for your own. At the same, like, I guess you're still working on your own, obviously, but there's a lot of that, like, looking at the other players and what they're doing and kind of determining what you're going to do on your turn based off of what they have, but at the same time working on yours, if that makes sense. But yes, that is why Azul is my number 7. Absolutely love this game, and I can see why this one is a really, really good one to have as a tournament game at WSBG. It is just such a great game. So that is Azul. All right, so moving on to number 6. This was the one that was just pushed outside of the top 5, but this is such a fantastic game and I love it very, very much. But that is Wingspan. So Wingspan is from Stonemaier Games, probably one of the more well-known ones out of the group of games. Obviously all of these games are very well known, but I feel like this one's the one that got into like the mainstream the most out of all of them, or at least a few of them. But yes, Wingspan is absolutely fantastic. You are working on your bird engine. This one's interesting because I can't really see it as a tournament game, but like obviously it's happening and I'm really excited to see it. If you guys don't know, they actually film the World Series of Board Gaming and you can watch it in real time. So I am very, very excited and intrigued to see Wingspan played during WSBG. So that is my number 6. That is Wingspan. All right, so we're getting into the top 5. Honestly, there's not much for me to say about these games because I adore every single one of these games. But my number 5 is going to be one of the heavier ones. I've mentioned it already, but my number 5 is Ark Nova. So I do think that this one is probably one of the heavier games. Ark Nova's like not super, super heavy, but this is another one that I can't picture being played as a tournament game because it does get pretty long in a 4-player game. So we will see how long it takes for the Ark Nova tournament to go, but yes, Ark Nova is a fantastic game. I've been playing it a lot recently because it just got added to BGA, so I've been playing a lot on BGA. Absolutely adore it. I've been getting pretty good at it. I've been scoring a solid like 120 to 130, 140-ish, which I feel like is pretty good because typically in Ark Nova, I think recently they changed it so like when you cross paths in Ark Nova, because that's like the one thing that you want to do, or that's the one thing that triggers the end of the game, is when one player crosses 2 of their paths, their appeal and their conservation. But I think once you cross paths, that's your 100 mark. So I'm going like 30-ish over the crossing mark, if that makes sense. So I think that's pretty good, but I'm going to be interested to see like the finishing scores of the top players in the Ark Nova tournament. So that is Ark Nova, my number 5. Such a good game. Moving into my number 4, this has been one of my favorite games for a very long time. This box is probably the most like worn out of a lot of their games because we've played this game so much. But this is my favorite classic game, Seven Wonders. Like I said, this is probably our most played game out of our collection. We absolutely love Seven Wonders. We play this, Francis and I play it with his family, we play it with my family, we play it with our friends. It's just one that we constantly go to. My dogs are playing with their toys underneath the table, so I apologize for the crickly noises or crunchy noises. But yes, absolutely love Seven Wonders. It's one of my favorite games. I think I did like a top 10 games of all time in 2021, and this was like my number 1 game. So it just has a special place in my heart. So that is Seven Wonders. I've played it a ton on BGA. I am decent at it, probably not the best. This is another one that like I watched on WSBG last year, and it was so much fun watching Seven Wonders and seeing like what the players did and like the strategy for Seven Wonders, because there's quite a bit more strategy in Seven Wonders than I initially thought. So yes, that is why Seven Wonders, dogs, you're making a lot of noise. That's why Seven Wonders is my number, what is it? Number 4. All right, so moving into my number 3, this one I kind of went back and forth which one I wanted to be 3 and which one I wanted to be 2. And I still don't really know. Just know that these two could switch pretty often, but I think I'm gonna do, just because I don't have this one physically and I've played it, I think now a total of 4 times. And I'm surprised I haven't purchased this one yet because I just know this will probably be one of my favorite games. But my number 3 is going to be Dune Imperium. So Dune Imperium, I just played for the first time like earlier in the year, and then I've played it 3 times since then, and I freaking love Dune Imperium. It is such a good game. I've played it with both of the expansions, I believe, as well, or possibly just Rise of Ix. I'm not 100% sure, but oh my goodness, the 4 plays that I've had of Dune Imperium, I've enjoyed so much. It is a deck building, worker placement game. It often gets compared to Lost Ruins of Arnak, but it's a very different game. There's a little bit of combat in it, which I'm surprised I like Dune Imperium as much as I do with that combat, but the combat isn't too like crazy. You're just adding in little combat warriors, and then whoever has the most combat strength is the winner, and they get some sort of reward for it. Whoever gets second also gets a reward. So you can also just like not take part in the combat if you don't want to, and it's the first person to 10 points. And I just really have been enjoying Dune Imperium, so that is why it is my number 3. It would be my number 2 if I owned it and have played it more, but I do not own it yet, which I really need to get on that. But yes, Dune Imperium, my number 3. All right, so moving on to my number 2. Like I said, this and Dune Imperium could probably switch, but because I have this one physically, and I know I've played this one probably a solid 50 times physically by now, because I just enjoy this one so much solo. I'm also pretty good at this one, so I think this would be one that I would want to compete in myself. But that is Cascadia. So Cascadia is definitely one of the lighter of the bunch, and I think this will be a really interesting one to watch as well. So Cascadia is a tile drafting, tile placement game. You're making this little grid of a bunch of different hexagons of different habitat types, and you're placing different animal tokens on to score points in different ways. And I just love this game. It's so easy to teach, so easy to get to the table, and I'm really, really interested to see what people score when they compete in Cascadia. So yeah, that is my number 2. I've talked about Cascadia many, many times on the channel, so it's clearly my number 1. Or not number 1, that was my number 2. What am I saying? It's clearly my number 2, because number 1 is the best game on earth. Just saying. All right, so I really talked this one up, but obviously if you know of all the games in WSBG, you have done the deduction and you know what my number 1 is. This is the only Castles of Burgundy I have. Now, I did sell my other version, but yeah, I've already said it. My number 1 is Castles of Burgundy, which I'm having a hard time getting onto the table. But this is my only version of Castles of Burgundy now. I did sell my other version. I'm not sure if they're going to be playing with this or just with like the 20th anniversary one. Probably that one most likely, but I think it'd be very cool to see them play with the special edition of Castles of Burgundy for WSBG. So we will see what happens, but Castles of Burgundy, oh my goodness. I love this game so much, and I actually, before even starting to work with WSBG, I was actually considering like joining and competing in the Castles of Burgundy because I enjoyed it so much. Right at the end of last year's event, they announced all of the new games, and they announced that Castles of Burgundy would be one next year. It wasn't in the first year, and I was like, oh my god, I need to find my way to WSBG because I want to compete in Castles of Burgundy so bad, because I think I'm pretty decent at Castles of Burgundy. I wouldn't say I'm like the best ever, but I think I could hold my own in Castles of Burgundy. I have some of my different strategies and stuff, and recently, since getting the special edition, I've like honed in on even more strategy, and I've played it a ton on BGA, different things like that. So I would freaking love in the future to compete in this. So maybe I will try to get there next year, and maybe I will compete in Castles of Burgundy if they have it there at WSBG for one of the ring events. But yes, that is my number 1. That is the Castles of Burgundy. All right, friends, so that is going to be everything for today's video. That is my ranking of the 16 games that are the ring event games for WSBG. Again, a huge thank you to WSBG, or the World Series of Board Gaming, for sponsoring today's video. I do want to touch on, I think I mentioned it, but I think the top 3 games are probably the ones that I would want to compete in the most. I would love to compete in the Castles of Burgundy, I would love to compete in Cascadia, and I would love to compete in Seven Wonders. I think my top 3 ultimately, actually, no, because Seven Wonders is my number 4. So I don't think I could compete in Dune Imperium. I enjoy Dune Imperium, but I don't think I'm very good at it. So I think I would skip out at Dune Imperium and do my number 1, my number 2, and my number 4. Castles of Burgundy, Cascadia, and Seven Wonders. I think those would be my top 3 ones that I would want to compete in. So yes, definitely let me know which games you would want to compete in down below if you had the opportunity to compete in WSBG. If you are competing, let me know. I would love to chat about that down there. And also, like I said at the beginning of the video, the question of the day also is if there was one game additionally that you would like to see that is not featured in WSBG yet, what game would you like to see a tournament of? I think I mentioned, but I would love to see Concordia. So that is my answer, and that is the video. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you enjoyed, give this video a big thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button down below if you have yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Comment all those things down below. I'd love to chat down there. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends.